on cable. And don't forget the elections on Tuesday. All right. So, Marcine, I'm going to ask. Marcine is running for the Prudential Committee, and what we're asking is our candidates to speak between 5 and 7 minutes, and then you may ask her your questions. Thank you.
Hello. Ooh, this is a little bit loud. I don't know if I'm going to move it back a little bit. Is that a little bit better? My name is Marcine Fernandez. First of all, I would like to thank the Onset Protective League for having this Candidates Night. Thank you for having us. And for everyone that is in attendance, thank you for coming. It's a nice night, and I'm sure that there's other things you might have wanted to do, but I appreciate the fact that you're here. I am running for the Prudential Committee. This will be my second actual full term. The first term that I ran to fill someone else's last year's slot, and then I was reelected again for a 3-year slot, and I retired from school, semi-retired, so I had to step down and then rerun to finish out that term. In case people are wondering, why is she running again? That's why I'm on the ballot again. I've been a resident of Wareham for approximately 45 years. I've brought up 4 children in the Wareham School District. I've worked for the state of Massachusetts as a protective service investigator for several years, and then my most recent job was at the Wareham School Department as a social worker for the school district. So having done that job, it made me aware of a lot of the needs within the community. But in that job, I also was responsible for budgets because I had many grants that I worked with, so I was responsible for keeping track of those budgets and making sure that I was able to bring in the services that the children at the school needed. I wanted to be on the Prudential Committee because I really care about my community, and I wanted to really see what I could do to help to contribute to the community. I have thoroughly enjoyed working on the Prudential Committee and with my colleagues, and I'm happy to say that we can sometimes agree to disagree, but we manage to work things out so that things work in the best interest of the district. My major concern is keeping our taxes down and making sure that we can create the needs that the community requires. We've been lucky enough to be able to do that. We've been able to finally balance the budget. We now have it audited on a regular basis, so we know exactly right to the penny what we have and what we have to spend. We've been able to put money aside this year for the stabilization fund for any future needs that we might have. We work hard at doing what we need to do for the community. I think that's about it. I don't know if people have any questions that they might want to ask. I'll be happy to answer them. Yes, Mr. Blacker. I should have said Larry.
Larry.
Who's the chairman this year?
I am the chairman currently.
Okay.
Chairman of the Prudential Committee.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. Is the Prudential Committee looking to put funds aside should the fire district need to purchase more property in order to protect the water systems?
Yes, we have considered that. As I said, we've put quite a bit of money into the stabilization fund in anticipation of future needs for the community. I think actually, Onset District is in pretty good shape.
Good. Good.
For the first time, I think, in a while.
Good.
I'm very frugal. I like things to be, and so aren't the rest of the members of the committee, so.
And how many people are on the Prudential Committee?
There's 3 members. It's myself, Mr. Robert Maxim, and Joe Venedine.
Okay.
I'm the baby of the group, though. I'm the youngest one. I'm still learning, but I'm enjoying it. I really am.
Is there anyone else that would like to question the office? No? Do you want to step in front, or would you like to sit out in the audience? It's up to you.
I think I'll sit out in the audience.
Okay.
I don't like being up here.
Thank you.
I'm leaving it up to you.
All right, we have now our candidates for First Assistant Engineer. Clearly, this is an extremely important office, and Mr. Maxim, I guess, is unable to be here this evening. So if you gentlemen would, you have 5 to 7 minutes to introduce yourselves. Tell us about your qualifications, what you want to see from the position, and once that's all done, we'll open questions from the audience. Jeff, would you start, please?
Yes, ma'am. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jeff Dias, and I stand before you this evening so that you can get a chance to know me a little better and know precisely why I think the voters should support me. I seek the election as a position of First Assistant Engineer. This isn't an administrative position or a purely managerial position. It's that of a Deputy Fire Chief, who's a second in command of the Onset Fire Department. It requires a person who possesses the knowledge, skills, and ability not only to perform managerial functions, but to command an incident scene, whether it be a minor motor vehicle accident or a major potential conflagration like we had last month on Cranberry Highway. If the chief had been out of town, the responsibility to command that fire would have rested on the next in command. As I sit here speaking to you, I can say with confidence that I have the training, experience, and qualifications to perform that role. I may not have the most years of service. Some of my opponents are very seasoned veterans in the fire service. But the question shouldn't be about how many years you have as a firefighter, but what have you accomplished in those years? Beginning as a call firefighter and then a lieutenant, a position that I held until 2005 when I was hired as the full-time firefighter in the Onset Fire District. I've made the absolute most of my 12 years in the Onset Fire Department. I've accomplished more than most do in their whole careers. That's why I feel that I am the most qualified person to perform the job. I've attended 31 separate training courses that amount to over 900 hours, taught not only by the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy, but also through other training agencies such as the Plymouth County Fire Rescue Training Agency, the National Wildfire Coordinating Group, to name a few. In the last 5 years, my training has averaged 148.65 hours per year. This figure doesn't even include this year's training, which already exceeds 100 hours. I do have my certifications and all my training records with me tonight if anybody needs to view. Lastly, the fire service isn't the only place that I've gained experience that'll aid me in performing the duties as the First Assistant Engineer. Prior to becoming a firefighter, I served in the United States Army. I rose to the rank of sergeant. Becoming a sergeant required a 30-day resident leadership course. But being a sergeant provided me with almost 2 years of the most valuable training and leadership experience that one could ever get. Being tasked with training, leading, and coaching a squad, potentially to war, and then bringing them back home safe to their families, very similar to what this job is all about. Lead your people, accomplish the mission, and get them home safe. In closing, I ask that people not let this be a popularity contest, but an election based on the most qualified candidate for the job. I ask that you support the candidate who is truly the best person for the job and elect me, Jeff Dias, First Assistant Engineer. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Onset Protective League and moderator Nancy Miller for holding Candidates Night, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow candidates. I'm William Teeles, and I'm running for the position of First Assistant Engineer of the fire station, the Onset Fire District. I've lived in the town of Wareham for probably 30 years. No, excuse me. I've lived in the town of Wareham most of my life, and probably 30 of those years, I've lived in Onset. I'm a resident, I'm a taxpayer, and have been for approximately 10 years. I formerly held the position of Second Assistant Engineer. I'm the only candidate with that previous Board of Engineers experience. I have 27 years of firefighting experience. I have all the necessary training, including Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, CPR, First Aid, Incident Command System,